For 6 long years I was in this prison, living my life behind bars in a sturdy old cell. Tomorrow gonna take me down to Huntsville, send my soul to heaven or to hell. I'm gonna love you like there's no tomorrow. I'm gonna love you like there's no yesterday. I'm gonna hug and kiss away your sorrow. I'm gonna love you like there's no tomorrow. The warden said my last request was granted. You could come and stay with me tonight. You're the only one who's ever believed in me. So hold me in your arms, hold me tight. I'm gonna love you like there's no tomorrow. I'm gonna love you like there's no yesterday. I'm gonna hug and kiss away your sorrow. I'm gonna love you like there's no tomorrow. Ooh. Yeah, that was my solo. That's a rhythm guitar solo. Not a lot of picking, but I'm a rhythm guitarist. I know my life will soon be over, and the life of our baby child has just begun. There's only one thought now that's left to haunt me. Think that what I lost I might have won. And I'm gonna love you like there's no tomorrow. I'm gonna love you like there's no yesterday. I'm gonna hug and kiss away your sorrow. I'm gonna love you like there's no tomorrow. Ooh. From an album I just released. It doesn't have any physical properties, but sometimes people say we don't either. So, but it's on the web, and it features my old friend Flaco Jimenez on recording, and a band called Los Tex Maniacs backing me up, and it's called The Tales of the Free Mexican Air Force. I'll just continue on and tell the story. On the California borderline, Tijuana, Mexico, checking passports and green cards, immigration papers, that's I'm just a border guard, I never learned the lingo anyway. I see too many hungry people try to find work in the good old USA. Well, a woman with 3 children in the line reached out her hand to me. On a wrinkled piece of paper were these words written plainly I could see. Her husband must have sent to her from where he found work across the border. It just said, meet me, my darling, in Mississippi, California. Mississippi, California. Ain't no such place, I'm gonna warn you. And I can't bend the law. I can't let you cross that border. Mississippi, California. Across the Rio Grande, where dreams never die, I know we can survive. In the cotton fields of Mississippi, Mississippi, California. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept dreaming about that woman and her children, wondering where they spent the night on the hot and dusty streets of Tijuana. And the look in her eye when she handed me that wrinkled piece of paper. She said, Senor, por favor, donde está Mississippi, California? Mississippi, California. Ain't no such place, I'm gonna warn you. But I'm gonna bend the law. Yes, I'm gonna let you cross that border. Mississippi, California, across the Rio Grande, where dreams never die, I know we can survive. In the cotton field of Mississippi, Mississippi, California. Thank you. Can I have just a little more guitar here? liberty. We are calling out to America for liberty. We still believe in the rights of man. Can't hide your head in the sand. We are hungry, we are poor. Hear us knocking on freedom's door. And even for America, there's a place for us to go. Maybe we'll return someday, but I don't know. We are coming home to America for liberty. We are coming home to America for liberty. We are calling out to America for liberty. Tales of the Free Mexican Airport. Some outlawry, some love. On the blue Pacific Highway, Mendocino bound. Pretty little trimmer girl going my way. I slowed my pickup down. She said, "What are the ghosts that are chasing you, that bring you so far down? This blue Pacific Highway to Mendocino town." I said, "The CIA and the DEA are looking for me for what went down in Humboldt County. Helicopters in the trees." She said, stuck a pretty little cowboy boot into my lap and said, "Move over, boy. Let me drive." Sunset eyes, oh, you look so wide, while your heart breaks right into. Sunset eyes, are you hypnotized? The devil into loving you. Well, Clear Lake of midnight moonlight, Reno at the break of dawn. Pedal to the metal buzz all night long. Now Pyramid Lake at sunrise, the hot springs kept us warm. When I woke up next morning, both my pickup truck and sunset eyes were gone, gone, gone. When the Paiute reservation marshal heard my tale of woe, he said, "Son, what goes down in Humboldt County, Nevada never needs to know." Sunset eyes, oh, you look so wise, while your heart breaks right into sunset eyes. Now you hypnotize the devil into loving you. The devil into loving you. Yeah. Well, I often think about you in the days when we ran free down that blue Pacific highway, sunset eyes and me. And I remember the reservation marshal and the words that he did say, "Son, what goes down in Humboldt County, Nevada never needs to know." I went on a vision quest in South Texas, a little place called Dilley, Texas. And I wrote a song about it. A little Mexican restaurant there. If you go there down to Dilley, you can get your squash and your tamales and your very simple food. But the jukebox has this song on it. I'll play it for you now. It's called "The Free Mexican Air Force is Flying Tonight." South of San Antonio towards Dilley, and I was on my own. I was seeking the secrets of the center of the universe, as one might do, being out of work at the time and all. And I came upon a bunch of long-haired folks sitting around in a campfire. I thought, this has got to be it, you know. And they were beaming, as you might say, beaming with happiness and joy. I came in, I snuggled in with them, and out from in between the Ocotillo cactus and the pinon pines came a dude of an hombre with dreadlocks hanging down, red bloodshot eyes, and smoke coming out of his ears. He had on a beaver skin hat, and a leopard skin vest, and lizard skin boots, and bear skin chaps. He had endangered species all over his body. He fell fast down in the campfire and sucked up all the flames and blew out a smoke ring and spit out a live coal. Looked at us and said, what are you boys and girls? Hippies? I said, howdy, we're vegetarians. He said, "Veg what?" He said, "Climb out of that campfire and come with me. I'm going to teach you about the true spiritual sport. We're going to fly with the free Mexican Air Force." In the Morelos Mountains, campesinos are planting their fields, where the ghost of a bottle rides a horse, they can still outrun the wheel. High in the sky above and clear out of sight, it's the free Mexican Air Force flying tonight. In the hills of Bourbon County, a cowgirl is cooling her heels, remembering that God gave us herbs and the fruits of the field. A criminal law that made outlaws of those seeking life, made the free Mexican Air Force, Mescalito riding his white horse. The free Mexican Air Force is flying tonight. Yeah, we're flying so high. How strange and innocent herb causes money to burn. They'll jail you or kill you for making those rich fat cats squirm. The fools who make rules with no difference between wrong or right make the free Mexican Air Force, Mescalito riding his white horse. The free Mexican Air Force is flying tonight. Yeah, we're flying so high. High in the hills we are harvesting sweet sensimilla. Yeah, the law wants it all cause they think that the wild weed can free us. Freedom for us is a prison for the rulers of might, and the free Mexican Air Force is flying tonight. While we smoking colitas, federales are loading their guns, blowing smoke from their six-shooters, spinning their barrels for fun. Contrabandistas, banditos of light, we're the free Mexican Air Force, Mescalito riding his white horse. The free Mexican Air Force is flying tonight, flying so high. Everybody, flying tonight. I was touring in Texas years ago, and my first introduction to South Texas was a decision to leave a band I was in called C-Train. And our last gig was in San Antonio, and I was so tired of the road by then that I just decided to stay on. And I would get up at the little old Holiday Inn there, and there was still an old wooden village the part of old San Antonio on the west side. And I would spend my evenings out there in these little bars, and they'd never seen a white gringo like me before. Believe me, it was unusual for both of us. But, you know, I didn't have any prejudice, so, you know, just go in, you order a little thing of Jack's beer, J-A-X, and listen to the little band, accordion, trumpet, and snare drum, and it was like, yeah, you know. And it was very homemade kind of feeling, and there were a lot of botanicas, herbal shops, so to speak. And the inside scoop was, in one of those places there was a drawer of peyote buttons, that you could find it if you were patient and didn't kind of let on that you were anxious about finding those things. I never did. But, and I wrote this little song about San Antonio, and and on this record, the tales of the Free Mexican Air Force, the great Flaco Jimenez plays it, as he does the Free Mexican Air Force. If you ever feel lonesome and you're down in San Antonio, beg, steal, or borrow 2 nickels or a dime, call me on the phone. I will meet you at Alamo Mission. We can say our prayers. The Holy Ghost and the Virgin Mother will heal us as we kneel there in the moonlight, in the midnight, in the moonlight, the midnight moonlight, in the moonlight, in the midnight, in the moonlight, midnight moonlight. If you ever feel sorrow for the love you have wrong, with no hope for tomorrow, in the setting of the sun, and the ocean is howling with the dreams that might have been, that last good morning sunrise will be the brightest you ever seen. In the moonlight, yeah, in the midnight, in the moonlight, midnight moonlight, in the moonlight, in the midnight, in the moonlight, midnight moonlight. And you're down in San Antonio, beg, steal, or borrow 2 nickels in the moonlight, midnight moonlight. Yeah, just the trails of the three Mexican airports are kind of a way of revisiting, well, some of my favorite songs. And I realized that, you know, as you're out there as a youngster trying to find your way in the world and trying to find your voice, you know, they say that's a thing. And I thought about it over time, and it's true. You know, you imitate, like I work with Bill Monroe. We'll get to that in a minute, but you know, going out on my own was probably the scariest thing I did because nobody was paying me to do that, you know. And luckily at the time, you know, we were young. We were 22, 23 years old, and my girlfriend was ready to go on the adventure, you know, and just those kinds of things that you remember as years go on, and how some people encouraged you. You know what I mean? The people that really encourage you to find your own vision, your own voice. And one of those people, when I finally got to the West Coast after traveling through the deserts of the Southwest, there was a guy named Jerry Garcia who got to play some bluegrass with. He did an album called Old and in the Way. And I brought him this tune that I had written coming across the desert. I had no idea. Well, it's a little, I won't bore you with all the details, but we made it as far as Anadarko, Oklahoma, which is a Kiowa Apache reservation. And at the time, this is, you know, 56 years ago, it wasn't very developed, you know. There was no internet, there was nothing, you know. So he had to be really telepathic all the time. And so that was exciting because you ended up in unknown places, just kind of going, yeah, Spirit told me to. And I was down in Anadarko, and I was wandering around, and I was going to go all the way up to Taos, New Mexico, to meet a friend of mine called Fast Eddie Phelan. And Fast Eddie had survived a shipwreck off Nantucket Island. And he said the last two people off that boat on a board against the rocks were the ship's cat and himself. That was a great story. And I noticed that Fast Eddie's little old car was there with those Taos, New Mexico license plates, and I thought, I wonder what Fast Eddie's doing here. Well, it turns out Fast Eddie and his boys up there in Massachusetts had found in a Boston Chinatown shop the Edward Curtis, an edition of the Edward Curtis lithographs carved into steel, all wrapped in wax and in the bottom of a shelf in Chinatown. Nobody knew what it was. And they looked at it, it was these images of the American Indians that Edward Curtis, on a government grant, had taken back in 1902 or 3 or something like that. So Fast Eddie, it turns out, was over in Anadarko, Oklahoma, trying to get people interested in these Curtis prints because the Curtis Foundation kept the masters, but they gave everybody who was in the founding party in that bookshop on that snowy day in Boston, in Chinatown, everybody got an edition. And of course, when you don't want to work, what are you going to do? You're going to sell your edition. So Fast Eddie was driving around the Southwest trying to sell it. They became huge. They became really big. The New York Times sold them after a while on the back page. They would do a nice print and sell it. And probably some of you have some of these Curtis prints. But I didn't know that. So I was just wandering around, and I wandered into a little trading post. And there was a Apache kid behind the counter, and his hair was all shorn, probably going to reservation school or something. You know, and I'm looking around, and I'm seeing all this beautiful beaded rattles and peyote birds, you know, and all this paraphernalia, and it was really pretty and shiny and sparkly. And I had spent the winter with Fast Eddie in a rent house up in Lincoln, Massachusetts, doing the sweat lodge in the living room, you see. And he had had Omar, the tent maker in Boston, make him a shell, a canvas shell. And then he had a laminated, he wanted to sell it on Whole Earth catalog. So he had the shell would unfold from just a single arc. It would unfold, and then you put the top over it, and you light the river rocks on fire in the fireplace, and you put a piece of asbestos down, of course, and put the rocks inside the wiki up, and there you have it. You know, as best as you can, you're making medicine. So I walked into this little, trading post. It was just a wooden shack like that in San Antonio. Nothing was like all modern or anything. And I'm sitting there going, wow, man, this is good medicine. Because I was like hungry to see what good medicine really was. We'd been in the sweat lodge, but that was just a warm-up, as it were. And the kid behind the counter said, "Oh, you like medicine?" And I go, "Yeah." He said, "Come with me." So we went behind the counter into the back room, and there in the October afternoon golden sunlight were 2,000 peyote buttons strung across the ceiling, healing into beautiful golden green color drying out in the afternoon sun. And he said, "This is good medicine." And I go, "Oh, really?" Yeah. And he gave me a little paper bag. So long story short, I went up and found Fast Eddie at the white trader's place, trying to sell antiques and this and that, and he had Curtis prints all laid out on the counter. And I came up to Eddie. He didn't know I was there. I just walked up and said, "Have you had lunch yet?" And he goes, "No, hold on to those prints. We'll be right back." And so we went out to the reservation road down by the river and the cottonwood trees and everything. It was beautiful. And we proceeded to set up camp. We boiled the cowboy coffee, put the eggshells with the grounds and everything. And we're having a mellow time, chewing on the buttons. And it's just all about being there and being in nature on the Kiowa Apache Indian Reservation. And about 4 PM, I'm in a camp chair, laying back, having the most wonderful storied, visionary dream awakeness that I've ever had until that time. And I smell a horse, and that horse smells wonderful, right? I mean, but it breathes on your nose, and you're like, I looked up and there were the nostrils of a horse, breathing on me, breathing into me, and I looked up above the horse's head, and there was a park ranger. And he had a little black hat on and a uniform, and he was definitely a Kiowa Apache Ranger. And he looked down at me, kind of amused. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry to disturb you, boys, but could you take your camp off the road?" "Yes, sir." We moved the camp off the road. And then later on drove on, and I wrote this song up in Mexico, above a little town called Mexican Hat in New Mexico, up on the Utah border with a place called Muley Point. You can go there, it's magic. Oh, the wind blows cold on the trail of the buffalo. Oh, the wind blows cold in the land of the Navajo. In the land of the Navajo. Well, 100 miles from nowhere, out on the desert sand, one-eyed Jack the trader held some turquoise in his hand. By his side sat running up his longtime Indian friend. He vowed that he would stay by Jack until the bitter end. Jack had gambled everything he owned to leave this wandering life. He might have had a happy home or a tender loving wife, but his hunger was for trading trapper's furs for turquoise stone. Anything that the Indians had, Jack wanted for his own. Oh, the wind blows cold on the trail of the buffalo. Oh, the wind blows cold in the land of the Navajo. In the land of the Navajo. He said, Jack, to you running out, I'll gamble on my precious stone before I leave my body here among these bleaching bones. For now my time is drawing near, I'm filled with dark regret. My spirit longs to journey as the sun begins to set. We've raped and killed, we stole your land, we ruled with guns and knives, fed whiskey to your warriors while we stole away your wives. Said running out, what's done is done, you white men rule this land. Lay the cards face up and play your last broken-hearted hand. Oh, the wind blows cold on the trail buffalo. Oh, the wind blows cold in the land of the Navajo. In the land of the Navajo. When you're dealing cards with death, the joker's wild, the ace is high. Jack by the Mississippi River, running elk raised him the sky. Jack saw him with the sun and moon, and upped him with the stars. Running elk by the Rocky Mountains, Jupiter and Mars. But the sun was sinking in the west when Jack drew the ace of spades. Running elk just rolled his eyes, he smiled and passed away. Jack picked up his turquoise stone and cast them to the sky. He stared into the setting sun and it made a mournful cry. Oh, the wind blows cold on the trail of the buffalo. Oh, the wind blows cold in the land of the Navajo. In the land of the Navajo.
Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Rowan, y'all. So we have 13 years ago, we cleaned this barn out. It was full of dead possums and tobacco and rotten floorboards and lots of really interesting things. And now we have these very interesting things in the barn. Tonight, all the way from Tennessee, he'll be back here next spring in April to play his mandolin. I'm an old man, and he's a young man, and he's the future of the mandolin, Wyatt Ellis.
Okay, yeah, we can use this as an open. Maybe we should move this aside. Thank you. Oh no, I think I'll just use my Fender flat pick. I like Fenders, I do. But they're making a flat pick to beat all flat picks. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're an electric guitar company, of course. And so I'm going to use this flat pick. It's just odd. I mean, if anybody's into guitar picks, go look for that. It's like, it's because of bluegrass. Have you seen one of these?
I have not.
Give guitar.
That's something else. That sounds good.
Pretty good.
Right?
Thank you very much. The kids these days, Let me get situated here, Wyatt. All right, we're going to play some old-time bluegrass here for you, and then move on into some new-time bluegrass. This is one of my favorites, and I think Wyatt's too. So yeah, we can definitely.
Yeah, I'll just play into this.
All right, man.
pines where the sun never shines, and we shiver when the cold winds blow.
Indulge in the famous Chinese number, tuning. Yeah, miracle. You never know with a Gibson. That's the Gibson motto. You never know. It's good as a Gibson. Well, we've got a number here that we recorded, and it's even here in person. It's only a Gibson is good enough. But when they're in tune, they are. Yeah, I mean, I saw Ry Cooter have an interview, and he plays mostly Fenders, and he said, "Do you ever play a Gibson?" He goes, I can't connect with a Gibson. I was just a little something. I'm trying to. This is my Gibson experience here. But that's pretty good. So this tune was written by a wife, and we were doing some shows and hanging out, and we recorded this together, and I had some words to it, and I had my guitar player's music stands here to remind me of the verbiage that I conjured up. And
this is the first time this one's been played live, and it's such an honor to get to do it at a place like this. And
yeah, man, this is the right place. calling me from the mountainside. Oh, the winds are Rowan County bride. In this lonely vale, I wander, dreaming of my love so true. Oh, the winds of Rowan County, calling me home to you. We've got some other pictures here tonight. Hopefully they're still here. Maybe they've decided to go home and feed the dogs or something. But maybe Arthur, if you can introduce everybody one by one, so that they do have names. But
I will do that.
all right, Mr. Arthur Hancock putting all this together. Isn't that great?
So I said it's full of wood.
Every time I come to Kentucky, I'm blown away just how much fantastic talent there is up here.
Yeah!
to introduce everybody. Yeah, you can use this microphone. And I'm sitting down. Like you are. Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, I like saying that. It feels good. You surely are a bunch of gentlemen and ladies, for sure. But I don't know. I used to drive across the country to go to Telluride Bluegrass Festival because Pete Rowan was playing there. And I used to drive all over the country to go listen to Pete Rowan's. And now we've got him here in our barn, so we hope you've enjoyed it. So, we're going to do something, and they say that your friends become your family. And that's certainly been the case in my life and the life of my family, and also in the life of my family in relation to Pete Rowan. So, tomorrow is a very special occasion, which we will now ceremoniously celebrate without Pete's permission. Tomorrow is Peter's 83rd birthday, ladies and gentlemen. My parents can't be here tonight. This is all because of my mom and my dad, and it's a lot to us. So I would ask you to raise your voices with me, and I'll play a very out-of-tune G chord as we sing Happy Birthday to Mr. Peter Rowan. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Peter. Happy birthday to you. Can you blow them out? Yeah, Pete!
You're a trick camera. Yeah.
Thank you, sisters. I have 5 of them.
They're all beautiful.
They're all. Pete loves to come to Bourbon County for more than one reason. But we're really glad to be here. Last year we did this show, and it was a lot of fun. And this year we opened it up, and we're so grateful that you supported it and came and joined us for Pete and his music. Listening to him and Wyatt play Renzo Rowan County, that was a moment. So we're going to set these mics and do a little picking. Just a few numbers, and we'll let you all head down the road. But we're going to figure out what we're going to play. But on the fiddle, y'all, I've been lucky to make friends with some musicians over the years, and one of them is a young fiddle player from Lexington, Kentucky, whose family has roots to mountain music that go back generations. And on the fiddle is Ella Webster. You can see her performing across the country with a guy named Cole Chaney. And then, of course, I like to haze Wyatt, but I won't do that right now. Hazing's not a thing anymore. But he is in Bluegrass Boot Camp for sure. And he's amazing, and I'm so grateful to be his friend, Wyatt Ellis, everyone, once again. And then, Pete wouldn't know it, but because of his music, I decided to forsake my birthright and chase bluegrass music around the world. And that's a good thing.
You know what they say about bluegrass musicians, though, right?
They're broke?
No, they're not, but they're also amazing because they'll drive thousands of miles just to hear themselves play.
Yeah, to play for themselves. Pete and I are going to Cleveland tomorrow for the Grass Fire Festival on his birthday, and he's going to play with the Steep Canyon Rangers, and I'm sure there'll be more celebration there. It'll be a day in the car with Pete Rowan on his 83rd, so I'm looking forward to it. Joining me is my musical brother, Chris Schaus, everybody. And on the 5-string banjo, which will now get this microphone right here, we will do Cody Duggar on the 5.
So Bill Monroe was in a rainstorm, and somehow he never got his white shoes dirty at all. And everyone was wondering why, and this woman comes up to Bill and has a Polaroid camera and she points it at him and says, "Mr. Monroe, can I make your picture?" And he goes, "Well, that's all right." And she says, "Back up just a little bit." And he moves an inch, shoes shining, not a spot on them. She said, "No, a little bit further." And Bill kind of doesn't move. So, "Mr. Monroe, could you just stand back?" And he said, "No, you stand back." Any requests? I'm just going to ride along with it. They got the groove. I'm just going to have fun. Thank you, folks, for being here. Really appreciate it. How do I like it?
Yeah, what's it?
No, you get back. No. What are we doing? On the stairs? Come from far away, the next all night to the break of day. Holler, holler, do-si-do, everyone's ready to go. Late in the evening, about sundown, high on the hill and above the town. I'm playing with the fiddle about how it would ring. You could hear it talk, you could hear it sing. You could hear it talk, you could hear it sing. siren, and the girl in the blue velvet band. She left me to face all the trials of the diamond that was worth 10 grand. All right. Well, they sent me to San Quentin for stealing. God knows I'm an innocent man, but the guilty one now, she lies dying. That girl in the blue velvet band. Last night, when big time was ringing, standing up close to the bars, I fancy I heard a voice calling far out on the ocean of stars. I'll be out in a year, and I'm leaving to live in some distant land and forget all about all my trials and the girl in the blue velvet band. Originally an Irish song, and it's really about a Chinatown, San Francisco Chinatown there. It was a lot of opium trade down there in the Victorian era. In repressive eras, there seemed to be a lot of opium around. And that became an American song that was sung in all the saloons around San Francisco. Yeah, Bill Monroe recorded it, and of course, I had the great honor of being a bluegrass poet. And I was a Yankee. Yeah, I was a Yankee. Silly Billy. And but Bill took me under his wing, and he learned me. You know, I had to learn. It was a learning curve. Yeah, it stretched clear to the horizon, and there was no pot of gold at the end. It was an empty pot. No, it was great. It was unbelievable. As Bill said before he passed, and when I saw him, he said, "They were good days." You know. So when you're out on the road forever like that, driving all night, shaving in cold water, raise your hand up high and smile. That's what Vassar Clemens told me it was like for him. But we left Nashville at midnight after the show and headed up north to Bean Blossom, Indiana. And the old bus called the Bluegrass Breakdown lived up to its name and broke down there by Horse Caves, Kentucky. And I was out standing under a little tree at sunrise, watching the sunrise over the mountains of eastern Kentucky. And Bill Monroe kind of came off the bus. Again, those white shoes never touched the ground, I swear. And They came up to me and said, listen good to this beat and don't forget it. He sang the melody and we wrote it together. This is a song called Walls of Time. The wind is blowing across the mountain and down over the valley way below. It sweeps the grave of my darling. When I die, that's where I long to go. Lord, send the angels for my darling. Take her to that home on high. I'll wait my time out here on earth, love, and come to you when I die. Lord, send the angels for my darling and take her to that home on high. I'll wait my time out here on earth, love, and come to you when I die. Names are carved up on the tombstone. I promise you before we die, our love will bloom forever, darling. When we rest side by side, the Lord send the angels for my darling and take her to that home on high. I'll wait my time out here on earth, love, and come to you. When I die. Cheyenne or Sally? All right, we're going to ride on out of here with Sally Ann now.
Peter, for being here.
My
Wyatt.
pleasure.
Thank you to Sherwin and Donnie for running the sound, and Zach Curry and Bobby Shiflett and Ryan Morris for taking photos. We'll have this all saved forever.
Thank